Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Tales from the Fandom. I am delighted to yet again have a returning guest join me on the podcast. And I have Melanie, but you may know her as Magical Girl Melanie. She has been on the podcast twice back in 2018 and 2019. So we figured, it's been 2 years now. So I get to catch up with Melanie. How are you doing today?
Good.
I am so excited to have you. In case people haven't listened to your previous episodes, we talked about like Jessica Jones and Steven Universe and Game of Thrones and cosplay. And there's some fun stuff that we talked about. So if you haven't listened, you need to go back and take a listen to those episodes. Links will be in the show notes to get you directly to them. But now, it's been 2 years but it hasn't really, I don't want to say it hasn't been, it's been 2 years since you've joined me on the podcast, but it's been, I've been able to watch you've, started doing streaming on Twitch.
Aww.
So I get to hang out in your realm, in your neck of the woods.
Yay. Well, it's always been awesome having you.
I try to pop in when I can and do the lurk and host and all that fun stuff. And just listen to your stories. But I know we're going to be talking about them in a little bit when we talk, streaming and video games. But there's a topic that we hadn't really been able to talk about that I think we're allowed to now, right?
Yeah, you know what? That's the only one making the rules here is me, and I say go for it.
Well, we're here to talk about Disney, and I'm gonna kind of like let you take the lead because. Disney, like, I'm not sure. Are we talking Disney movies? Are we talking Disney TV shows? Are we talking the parks? Like, what are we talking about, Melanie?
I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, and since I left the park, I don't consume nearly as much Disney stuff as I used to. I still have like a soft spot in my heart for some of it. So, yeah, I feel like, it was always a big, secret, scary thing that I probably even brought up to you at some point because we met through Orlando that I was like, by the way, I can't talk about being a Disney character. Maybe I didn't even tell you about it. I have no idea. That's also very possible.
I think you had made mention that you were working like a part-time at that point because we had connected. I'd found pictures you'd attended, I think is 2017 Holiday Matsuri. And then we connected and recorded in early 2018. But yeah, I think you had been working part-time at the parks at that point, and yeah,
I was
doing the thing.
I was seasonal, so I think I've been to 3 years worth of Hall Mat, and so it just kind of was always perfect timing that I would go down and do Hall Mat, hang out with all my friends, and then usually stay after it ended, and I would pick up shifts down there. So that was just that was like my routine.
That is so fun. Just like popping in and being like, I'm here to work a few days.
Yes. I mean, I did it because I liked it, They definitely weren't paying me enough. I was losing money working there.
I remember when I first moved to Orlando with my fiance, now my wife, and I had applied for like, some Disney jobs, but we didn't live close enough to the park. So between the tolls and the gas, it wouldn't be paying a lot. And she's like, you need to make more money than what a high schooler would make at a job. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. You'd think, right?
Like my dreams of driving a monorail were dashed in that instant. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, There's got to be some kind of monorail simulator out there by now, right? That probably would be more fun. I mean, the one in California isn't even air conditioned, so like, I don't think I'd recommend.
Oh my goodness, I'll stay here in Florida where at least it's decent on the inside. But dang, it's been we haven't been to the park in a while, and it's like I don't see us going anytime soon. Just it's. We're Floridians, and it's too hot.
I really love the Halloween stuff all the time, and I'm like very tempted to like. I kind of want to go to California, to be honest, like my fave spot. But I mean, it probably won't happen. Well, we'll see, I guess. I haven't been in Yeah, I mean, since before the pandemic when I was working there. So
Yeah.
haven't been back since.
Now, you mentioned, and I know that I've been listening to your stories on Twitch, that some stuff happened on TikTok, and
Oh boy,
and
yeah.
Disney.
So, yeah, as we were talking about earlier, so I'm a cosplayer, and I technically was I guess I was more a Disney character turned cosplayer, because I first started working for Disney in 2012, and the first time I went to a convention was in 2013. Now, before I worked at Disney, of course, I had like some Disney costumes. Like Giselle from Enchanted was what made me want to work for Disney in the first place. So I had a costume, and I just called it like my fancy Halloween costume. Like I didn't know what cosplay was, even though I grew up doing Harry Potter conferences, as they were called, and some people did cosplay. Like my first impression of cosplay was not good. We'll just put it that way. Like it always looked like it involved role playing for sure, which that's not me knocking like people that like to be in character when they cosplay. I do it a little bit too sometimes, but like there definitely seemed to be some kind of not safe for work element going on to it that was the energy that I was getting. And so when people would be like, "Oh, I love your Giselle cosplay," I'd be like, "Oh, thank you. It's just my Halloween costume." And people are like, "What?" All that to say is like technically like getting to be cast as a Disney character, I feel like is what upped my ability to like, you know, kind of like be comfortable with cosplay, because I knew how to like put wigs on, and spoiler alert, the characters wear wigs. So you don't want me to say that, this might not be the podcast episode for you. But
Dun, dun, dun.
so like I was, confident with doing that and my makeup and like, wearing heavy outfits or whatever. So when everything happened with the pandemic and Disney fired all of their seasonal and part-time workers, and I was seasonal because I was a full-time flight attendant since 2016. So I got my own Anastasia and Drizella costumes, because as a cosplayer, I always said like, hey, I'm not ready to give these characters up and how much they mean to me and how much fun I have dressing like them. And I volunteer with kids and stuff. And I was like, even if no children want to see the stepsisters, I will wear these to conventions and have so much fun doing it. So then I kind of got the idea that I wanted to tell stories on TikTok, and I just kind of felt like it would really punch it up a notch if I did it in my costume, which like I would be lying to you if I sat here and was like, yeah, I really had no idea people would think that was me in my park costume. Like, of course I knew people would think that, I write all over them, like, by the way, this is a cosplay. This is not the park costume. They don't let you take the park costumes home. Like, my friend made this wig. I bought this dress from Japan, fair and square, and like, this is my house. And still, all the comments, even me being like, by the way, I don't even work there anymore. People saying like, you're going to get fired for doing this. You can't post things out of character. And I'm like, okay, that's absolutely not my problem. They probably shouldn't have fired everybody or I wouldn't have done it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I did it in my cosplays, and I felt like I kind of hit this weird spot on TikTok, I guess, that just didn't exist. Like, there's people that do cosplay, and there's people that tell stories of their jobs, some Disney people included, but there wasn't really anybody that was telling Disney stories dressed in their Disney costume, especially one that was a villain. I got some specific stories. So my videos were doing pretty well. I had one, the first one that blew up got like 500,000 views, or maybe it was like 300,000 or something. And it was one I posted for Pride Month of one of my favorite stories of when I was Drizella at the Grand Floridian dinner. And if you're a Disney fan listening to this, people expect me to say, oh, when I was friends with Drizella, which is not a phrase I will be using on this podcast. I will happily elaborate on that if anyone cares. I was a performer that played Drizella, and Drizella is me and I am her. And I was her for 8 years. So honestly, it's beyond friends with, and it is kind of beyond performing at this point. She's just part of me. Oh,
That's
I played
right.
the other stepsister too, but Drizella's got a special place in my heart for a few reasons. Yeah, I was telling a story about I was at the Grand Floridian dinner, which if you're not familiar with Disney, is a character meal. So people pay for the buffet, and then they get to have the characters come up to their table and talk to them. And Cinderella's stepsister's whole thing is that, you know, we didn't get to marry Prince Charming, so we're always on the lookout. And Drizella specifically wants to marry somebody who's rich because she wants to be just like her mother, and love is not real, and you marry for status and you marry for money. So she's just looking for someone that's going to make her better than Cinderella, better than everyone, you know, just every single person that Drizella meets is an opportunity for her to better herself in society. So she doesn't necessarily look down on people because every single person is a potential opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm doing my thing. It's these two like college-aged girls that were there, probably in the college program. They were pretty quiet. They, you know, nothing really like stood out. I mostly just talked and they didn't say anything. We took the picture. And I kept going, and then one of the girls called me back to the table, and I was like a little grumpy about it because you only have 40 seconds at each table if you're gonna make it back on time. And if you don't, you know, you'll get yelled at. So I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to go backwards. Or like, you already had your time, and like, you didn't ask me something. And they're like, no, just like real quick, like. And the shyer of the two girls was like, so like you wanted to marry, like you're not married yet, right? And I'm like, no. Like, that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to find someone to marry. Like, that's the whole point of this. And she's like, well, like, could you marry a girl? And I just looked around and I said, like, a rich girl? And she just, I mean, they just died. So I posted that story on TikTok. And it is a true story. And I do believe in my heart that Drizella would truly marry anybody that was rich because she doesn't believe in love, doesn't believe in romance. Can't imagine she's really worried about being attracted to anybody at this rate. So absolutely a rich girl would be very acceptable. I think her only condition would be that of the two girls, she needed to be the showstopper dress. Mm-hmm. She would not care if the other girl also wanted to wear a dress, but she was going to have to be the standout of the couple in the looks department. That would be very important to her. So we didn't get into those specifics, but that's how it goes in my mind. So that video did really well on TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like, people like my stories, and people would ask me other things, and I recorded some in my Anastasia costume and talking, and then I was going to go on vacation. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let me record like 4 stories that I can put in my drafts so that I'm on vacation. Like, I don't really want to like kill this momentum. Like, this is the most fun I've had on social media since Tumblr in 2012. So like my whole Disney Tumblr blog could be a whole freaking podcast episode. My God. So I made all these videos. Just recorded some of them as I would call like playing the hits. Like, whenever I would meet somebody and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I want to know, like, what is it like being a Disney character or whatever? Like, the usual stories I would whip out. Mm-hmm. And one of them was about this woman that I made cry, which is like a silly story, but I wouldn't say is even like one of the best stories, or even by far any of like the worst things somebody's ever said as a stepsister. But basically, it was like a family of adults, and I walked up and I was doing my thing, and it was like the impression I got was it was like, you know, the children were adults, like not even like teenagers, like they were all like in their 20s and 30s, and then like their parents were probably in their like, you know, 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. So they had autograph books on the table, and there was, you walk up, and again, the 40 seconds thing. So I picked the autograph books up off the table. And I noticed that there's one at the other end of the table that's still down there, which is really common in and of itself. And I'm giving the full description here because the TikTok is about 2.5 minutes long, and people just latched on to these little details of what they think happened in this comedic retelling of something that happened to me that, as far as the internet knows, might not even be true. But oh boy, did people have some opinions on it. So there's the other autograph book at the end of the table, which usually means they forgot to put it back in the pile. because 40 seconds, everything happens really quick. They probably just forgot. So I go and I pick up the autograph books and I point at the one that's at the opposite end of the table. And I said, oh, is that one full? Because that's the other reason that people will not include one autograph book with the others, is if there's no more pages left. And the mom looks at me and says, no, that book is for princesses only to sign. Like that, with a sassy intonation in her voice that apparently I did not portray in my TikTok video, okay? Because this is a stinging point for people. And so, of course, I went, oh, princesses only. Well, my mistake. But isn't this going to be so embarrassing for you when I marry a prince, which could be any second now, frankly? I'm a princess, and I didn't sign the princess book. That's embarrassing. Like, oh my goodness, you're going to be so upset. The family is cracking up. Mom is kind of like sitting there, like, quiet, but like watching me. Like, she's just like looking at me. And I'm like, we're playing along. Because again, anyone that's not familiar with Disney, the whole reason people even go to this dinner in particular, you can meet Cinderella anywhere. There's only a couple places you can meet the stepsisters, and people are always like, oh, we love the villains. We love interacting with the villains. And she like started it. So I'm like, oh, great. She wants to play along. This is so funny, you know? So I like reach across the table, like real slow, like, ooh, you know, I'm gonna get it. And like, she doesn't do anything. So I pick up the book, or as I say in my TikTok, I snatched it off the other end of the table, which apparently sounds very aggressive. And I'm flipping through the book now. The other books I sign, whatever, I ignore them. I'm flipping through this book. And in my TikTok, I point out that Aladdin's autograph went in it, and I said, oh, so Aladdin's a princess. I didn't know that. Now, again, this video is only about 2.5 minutes long, right? So that's the only example I used in my TikTok. But I probably spent, way more than 40 seconds at this table, because you bank your time, right? Because 40 seconds is short, but maybe some tables, they don't even want to talk to you, or they stand up and they take the picture and you move on and you're there like 12 seconds. So you're like, ooh, I'm going to save my time so that I can give more attention to the families that really care about it. Right. So that's what I thought was happening. That's what I thought we were doing. So I'm flipping through the book. Ooh, Aladdin, I didn't know he was a princess. Like, oh, Tinkerbell's a princess? I had no idea. And I swear, I'm almost positive. Now it's like just such a story of legend. Like, who even knows anymore? I swear there was like Gaston was in that book. Like another villain was in that book. It was just a normal autograph book. And also, it was one of those blue Disney autograph books. Hold on, I'm on like my camera right now, so I actually have one here in front of me, but it's just like those basic blue autograph books that you can buy at Disney, not the ones that have the pictures on them. Yeah, ones that are like 100 pages and most people never even fill up. Nothing was special about this book that I could see, and definitely nothing was special that she told me. The other thing I didn't include in my TikTok is that as I was holding this book, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sign the book, like holding my pen over it. Family's cracking up. And she's just looking at me like, she's kind of like glaring a little bit. But again, everything else is telling me like this is for fun. Like she's acting. People love to be in on it. I gave her so many chances to be like, no, I really don't need you to sign that one. And I would have been like, fine. And like, threw it back on the table. She didn't. But I still turned to a page that wasn't with any other characters around it, so that if she really wanted to later, she could just pull it out of the book. So I walk away, I'm doing my thing, I take a picture with everybody, whatever. And then I got that like weird feeling where like like somebody's looking at me or like something's not right. And I look over, now I'm with like a different family, and this lady's like crying at the table and like glaring in my direction. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? So again, I made this TikTok as like a funny story, being like, oh, the joke is that like, I was really surprised by this. I thought I was doing what she wanted me to do. This wasn't even like, oh, I was an asshole and she cried. Oh, I don't know if I can say that on your podcast.
You're fine.
Oh, and so, like, I I was just very surprised by it, you know? And then the manager came up and was like, hey, what's going on at that table? And I'm like, well, I signed the lady's autograph book, you know, that's it. And she's like, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. So the video is on TikTok. I'm getting on a cruise for my vacation. And I'm like, oh, I should post a TikTok today. I picked that one at random. I'll post this one. I'm on this cruise ship. I'm not looking at my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, that night, my mom was like, oh, didn't you post a video today? Like, how's it doing? And I said, oh, I looked at it a little while ago, and it had, like, 100,000 views, like, which is great, but was pretty consistent with the ones I had posted before that. Like, I'm sure a lot of people that use TikTok would be like, oh my God, that's still, like, so viral. And, like, that was great. I was glad that, like, it was being seen. But that wasn't enough for me to, like, think anything of it.
Right.
So she's like, oh, well, what's it at now? And now it's, like, 10 p.m. and we're out at like the piano bar, and she's telling some couple, she's like, oh, my daughter makes TikTok videos. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Mom. So she's like, well, what's it at now? What's it at? And I pull it out, and before I even see the video, I see my follower count, and I think I had over 10,000 already at that point, and it was at like 35,000, and I was like, what? And like just today? And I scroll down and it has 2 million views. And I was like, oh my God. By the time that my vacation was over, it had like 8 million views. And I think right now it has over 12. It is over 12 million views.
I'm looking at it right now. It's got 12.5 million at this point.
It's a lot of views. And there is so much discourse in the comments, mainly people that are either saying she's a Disney villain, this is what villains are supposed to do, which honestly is not a strong enough opinion in my, like, if I was looking at it unbiased, like, being a Disney villain does not give you a right to be rude. Playing the villains is not about being rude. It's about being witty and funny, which is what I thought I was doing, right? I thought we were having a moment.
Right.
And then the other, people being like, you don't understand Disney parks, et cetera, which for 12 million views, I don't expect everyone to understand Disney parks. I would assume most people have no idea what I'm talking about. The other views are people telling me that I have boundary issues, which is really interesting. Especially if people chose to watch the other videos of me talking about, like, giving guests the best interaction that I could of what they wanted is funny to me. And I realize that not everybody can have that type of personality on the internet, that I could see a lot of people being in my situation and being really upset by it and being like, oh my gosh, people are calling me names, or they think I'm a bad person. And I'm just like, it doesn't bother me, because I just look at that and think, this person has no idea what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And every time you comment on a TikTok video, you're just giving it engagement. So they have literally made me more successful with their discourse. Like, and the people coming back to the video over and over again to get in, like, comment wars with people. And I'm like, okay, just give it more views, just give it more engagement, I guess. Whatever. That's fine. But it's just like, I thought she wanted me to do that. I wasn't trying to be rude. But the amount of people being like, well, if she looked at you like that, then you should have known not to stop. And I'm like, it was a comedic retelling of a situation you weren't there for. That, again, I could have made up. Truth be told, like, what do I think really happened that day? I think she is the kind of person that overly plans the Disney trips, like they're like a Disney family, mm-hmm. but that, like, it's mom's thing, and she plans the Disney trips down to where we eat, when the bathroom breaks are, when we breathe, when we take naps, when we wake up, all that kind of stuff. And I think that her family was probably giving her crap for it all week, and she was feeling really underappreciated for putting a lot of work into their vacation. And I don't think it was actually me signing the book that made her cry. I think it was feeling like she was already in a vulnerable place, and her family laughing made her feel like her family was laughing at her for being particular. And I think that's what made her cry. I don't think it was actually she was upset that I ruined her book. Mm-hmm. Which, regardless, the amount of comments on there that say no means no, why don't you get that? And I'm like, you can rewatch this video 12 million more times. Not once does this woman tell me no. People are like, well, that's it. It's an insinuation. It's obviously a boundary. And I'm like, it's not obviously a boundary if every single other social cue that you've been given is this is a joke. I paid a lot of money. Please play into my joke with me, which is what I thought I was doing. That's why I was so surprised. I can only work with what I'm given. I'm not a mind reader, as some people did point out in the comments. All she had to do was say, no, not that one. It didn't even have to get to that point. The book just shouldn't have been on the table. Or she could have said, yep, it's full. I wouldn't have even asked about it. But you know what? Wherever that lady is out there, and also to all of the people in my TikTok comments that think I'm rude, thank you so much. You have given me a lot more joy and entertainment and free therapy via social media than I ever thought I would get. So that's my long-winded TikTok viral story. And now I'm a TikTok personality, I guess. Or so I've been told.
You're the wicked stepsister of TikTok.
You know what? Like, this is the biggest surprise to me. I love being Anastasia and Drizella so much. I would not have traded even one of them for a different character, no matter how much I wanted to be Ariel, and would still want to be Ariel, to be honest. Like, I would never give them up. But working 6 days a week and being severely underpaid, and also having no guarantee of hours or that I would get to do anything ever, was really hard. On top of that, being called ugly and nasty 6 days a week didn't feel great. Mm-hmm. Did not feel great, even as much as I loved doing it. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I wasn't ugly, and I definitely wasn't nasty. But the fake it till you make it stuff goes the other way too. And that's when I knew that I couldn't live down there full time anymore, when I started looking in the mirror and thinking, well, maybe if I was cuter, then I wouldn't be so poor. Maybe I would be able to get more shifts if I was prettier. And that wasn't a good feeling. So to have a video with 12 million views where you think, it feels like every person on the internet has seen this video. There's going to be some really mean things. And I can tell you this, not one time have I gotten a comment on any of my videos that said, no wonder you played the stepsisters. It's because you're so ugly. Never. It's never happened. So, which, I mean, even if it did, I would just delete it. But like, I very rarely have to delete comments. I don't. I let people fight over them because I'm like, well, this is just somebody that doesn't understand the situation. Right. I know that's not true, so I don't really let it affect me. But to think like, that seems like it would have been the obvious thing that would happen, at least to me, who still carries some of that emotional damage left over from Disney. And it didn't happen. So internet is going better than I expected it would.
Yeah, well, yay for that, because that would be horrible on top of all the other stuff that goes on in the internet world. But I've watched a few of the former like face characters like on YouTube, like there's a couple that I had followed, and they were always talking about like how little time you have to even get ready. Like, and here I was thinking like, oh, there's like a whole like makeup department, and there's people to help you get dressed and take care of stuff, and it like to find out that it's not, and I'm like, what? Like, yeah, they teach you how to do the makeup, but you do your own makeup. You don't have to style the wigs, of course, and there is some limited assistance that you can be given with the wigs, like depending on what it is. I mean, Drizella, I never needed help. I could do it myself, and the bow was really easy to put on. Anastasia, typically I would ask them to do the little hair comb in the back for me because it's just kind of hard to see back there. I mean, plenty of girls did it by themselves, but I just was like, I'm very animated, and I would rather somebody secure it on there before I'm
jumping around like a lunatic. But oh yeah, you're supposed to have an hour of prep time, but that hour of time includes going into costuming, pulling your costume, changing into what you wear underneath your costume, checking into the base, pulling your wig, making sure your wig looks good, putting your wig on, and getting to wherever it is that you have to be is all included in your hour. So you're looking at maybe at best for a regular shift, like 40 minutes, maybe if you're really quick with everything else to put everything on. That's not counting the parade. The parade ends up being about 25 minutes of time, but also you'll get in trouble if you come in and you're already wearing some of your makeup because you can only do work on work time, but work doesn't give you enough time. So
right.
I was definitely that petty person sometimes, like at the parade building being like, oh no, sorry, I can't do warm-ups because I'm not done doing my makeup. And they'd be like, well, why aren't you done doing your makeup? And I'm like, because you don't give me enough time to do it. So, so pick your poison. I'm like, look, you all gave this character's personality to me, so it's really not my fault if you kind of have to build a thick skin. You have to. It's sink or swim out there, David.
You gave me this character, and I have, taken some personality traits from her, and, you got to deal with it now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It could be worse, honestly.
Oh my goodness. Do you miss it at all? Just, out of curiosity, or is it more of a, you look back on it now and you're like, okay, I did it, and now I'm doing something else, and it's in the past?
Oh no, absolutely, I miss it. I mean, I'd be a big liar to be like, nah, I went and bought the costumes just like why not? No, definitely miss it. Miss some parts more than other parts, and that's why I tell people, like, whether I'm joking or I'm serious when I go off on my little Disney tirades, my little Disney tirades on like Twitch or something like that. If people ask me about it, there was not a single day that went by between 2012 and 2020 when I stopped doing it where I was out on set and being like, I just don't want to talk to the guests anymore. Never. Mm-hmm. Not once. Not even on a day where the guests were being really rude to you or, God forbid, like pushy or like touching you when they shouldn't be. Like, even on those days, I was never like, I'm sick of talking to these people and I'm sick of wearing this costume and being this character. No, it is 100% the backstage politics of working there that makes you not able to work there anymore. Like, even if like I pretty much was able to keep to myself and I didn't have too many like problems with management per se. Mm-hmm. But like it was such a bad feeling inside to feel like I got my literal dream job. It was my dream job. There is lots of documentation on the internet of how badly I wanted this job of being a Disney character. And I got it. And I was just as good at it as I thought I would be. And to know that no matter how good I was at it or how coveted a position it was, that I was never going to be able to support myself doing it. And I was never going to be recognized for the hard work that I did. And that is what hurts. That is what hurts really bad. I don't know how much you like look at TikTok, but there's that whole like meme going around the like, yeah, I don't miss whatever it is. And then it's like, sometimes all I think about is you. Oh yeah. I mean, that's me every day. Like, I'm like, I would never go back. I could never go back, obviously. Now they wouldn't want me back. But like, specifically when I think of Disneyland, when I first started, like the Disneyland Christmas parade will be one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life, always. Probably so built up that even if I somehow got to be in it again for a day, I don't know if it could even live up to what it is in my head at this point. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, even working at Disneyland, like I was a host. Like I also talked to guests as myself with a name tag, which like to people that are only familiar with in Florida, they're like, oh, like a character attendant, but they're kind of different things because they are cross-trained roles. And sometimes there is a little bit more of like an entertainment aspect that you're expected to do. I even loved that job. When I wasn't Drizella or Anastasia, I was working at Pixie Hollow, as myself, and I freaking loved that. It's best job I ever had. Worst pay I've ever had. Best job I've ever had.
It's been like I haven't been to Disneyland since probably, geez, I'm what, 40 something now. So subtract like 30 something. Yeah, about like single digits, because we used to live in California, so we went like once or twice when I was very young. So which park do you have a preference on, like a favorite park, or is there a difference in the work styles of like Walt Disney World versus Disneyland, California, the Anaheim area?
Oh yeah, for sure. And definitely, like, I couldn't speak for people that still work there, especially at Disneyland, just because it has been so long since I worked there. At the time, the training was completely different, the character training. I was originally cast as Drizella, and I was a sub for Anastasia. But when I went to training, I didn't even know I was doing Anastasia. And then, like, I got a call for the show that they were training me for, which calling it a show is a generous term. It was called Dancing with Disney, and it was for when they opened Cars Land and all the other, like, they quote unquote reopened California Adventure in 2012. So they were expecting these huge crowds of people, and they were trying to figure out how to alleviate that. So stage 17, that's next to the Monsters Inc. ride, that now would be like kind of on your way to the new Marvel stuff. It was just this big empty space that they would use for like events and things, and it was inside and it was air conditioned. So they used that and put in this show Dancing with Disney, and put in all these random characters that Disneyland didn't usually have that people could meet. And it was not a dance party in like the traditional Disney sense that we're used to now, because it was like scripted. It was like always this group. It was like these characters, and it's this song, and then this character comes up and does a moment for this song or whatever. So there was a group that was called, I forget what the villain group was called. The other one was called Ladies' Choice. And we were not in the villain group. We were in Ladies' Choice, which was really fun. So, and we were the only, Anastasia and Drizella were the only face characters in Ladies' Choice. And then Cruella was in the villain one. It was super fun. One of the best gigs I've ever had. I only had to do 3 sets. It was only 6 hours of pay, but it was 6 hours of pay with no lunch taken out. And I was only out there for 30 minutes in the air conditioning, like dancing. And I didn't have to take pictures or sign autographs. Like, that's maybe the ultimate, like, sometimes all I think about is you. Like, if only I could have that job still and like actually make money, yes, then I would still be doing it. Well, that show's not there anymore. But so Disneyland, like, they have a much smaller cast. And I will say this, there was not a single day in my year working at Disneyland where I had the fear of I was picked to play this character because the casting agent thinks I'm ugly. That never occurred to me. Never once. Because Disneyland is so small. They have so few people. And like some of it also was just like built up in my head because I was one of those people that watched character videos on YouTube. And like there was one person in particular, and I would watch all her videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, Disneyland people, like they're just something else. And then one day that girl was filming me, and I lost my mind. So that video is on YouTube. I wouldn't say it's a 100% accurate representation to what I was like in Disneyland, but I was like, Disneyland doesn't hire ugly people. They hire people that are the best person for the job. And I don't know if that's like a totally accurate statement, but it was at least what I thought, and that obviously was good for me. And I also was like one of those lucky people that they don't do like bidding or seniority or anything in Disneyland. Everything is cast out like a show, like even the meet and greets. Or again, it was. I don't know if they still do this. So they have all the characters, and like they could come to you and be like, hey, David, like we want to offer you Monday through Friday Gaston in the park, right? Like, will you like take this like bid? And you'd be like, yeah, great. That's awesome. Like that would be like the best spot, right? You'd have weekends off. Yep. And you would be full time. Like that would be the spot that you want. And I came in, and I was the newest cast member. I was also one of the youngest. I was 19. Florida has a lot of young people, but at the time when I worked at Disneyland, there was only 2 other girls that were younger than me, and one was like one of the first Rapunzels, and one of them was like one of the first Meridas, and I think they were like seniors in high school. But other than that, like that was pretty unusual. Like people stuck around. So I was really young, I was brand new, and they gave me the most cast Drizella spots like in the show. And that was like, I mean, that was like all the ego boost that I needed. I was like, they know I'm good at this. Like, this is amazing. And I never had any of that kind of like validation in Florida. And I definitely felt ugly there. Yeah, that's like, you know, and there's some people that have the opposite experience. Like, I have one friend who did the parades, which that's the other big opposite thing that people do. Like in California, everybody that's in the parade wants to do the meet and greets because the parades is a different department and you get paid minimum wage in the parade and the hours are really short. And you don't get any kind of premium for being a face character because it's like, oh, you're a parade performer. Like, you're not trained to talk to people. So if they can get out of the parades and become a meet and greet character, then you can make a little more money and you can get better hours and stuff. Whereas in Florida, none of that exists. Everything's just all one thing. So everyone's like, oh, I want to be in the parades because then, you know, you're not doing the hours and hours and hours of meet and greets and you're like standing on the float and smiling, but you get paid the same thing.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. But like, I had a friend that worked in California and like, she didn't feel like she was like ever noticed. And then she went down to Florida and like, they gave her a bunch of stuff. So like, she had a lot more success there than me. So it's not me saying like, oh, well, Disneyland's just better for everything. It's just like, I was 19 and I had my rosy little glasses on and like I wanted all my Disney dreams to come true and I went out there and like within 3 weeks they all happened and I felt like I was really good at my job and everyone liked me, so I will always have my little soft spot for Disneyland.
With you going viral and with you doing the TikTok videos, has there been any reach out from the House of Mouse, like whether official or unofficial, where they're like, hey, you know, this isn't cool, or, you know, stop, or even just like employees being like, you know, and anything, and anything like that, or no? Because I know some of the YouTube people, they tread very carefully on what they say or don't say, and you do not.
Haha, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube. That's a scarier jump for me, not because I'm scared of how people will react to me, but because I'm like, YouTube looks like so much work. These videos are like 45 seconds. I'm like, I'm gonna have to like open Adobe Premiere, like, But so to start off the broad part of the question, has Disney contacted me and said, we don't like what you're doing, watch out? The answer is absolutely not. No. For a number of different reasons. One, I'm not doing anything wrong. There is nothing that they can do about it. Characters do not sign a non-disclosure agreement. The amount of money they would have to do for that, and evidently they don't actually care about paying people. There's a reason why people don't run around talking about what's happening in the newest Star Wars movies, and that's because people are paid not to. And because they're paid not to, they're threatened with actual legal things that can happen, right? I didn't sign anything like that. People say, oh, all cast members sign paperwork. Yeah. Like you do at every other big corporation ever, that you will not give up company secrets. And as I said in one of my TikToks, it's not a company secret that Cinderella's an actress, or that characters are wearing wigs, or that there's more than one Mickey Mouse and it's a person in a costume. I said it. Because everyone can know that, right? And not even at that, oh, unofficially does everyone know that. You can pay Disney to go on these tours and walk in the tunnels, and they walk you by the entertainment base. There's one that costs even more money that you can do at Epcot, where they will walk you into the room with the wigs, where the princesses are getting ready, and let the guests grill the princesses, which is insanely rude, in my opinion. Like, I had to stop buying my lunch because the tunnels, the tour in the tunnels at Magic Kingdom, what Keys to the Kingdom tour is what it used to be called. It might be called something else now. They would walk by the entertainment base right at the time that I had lunch. And I didn't like that. And I went up to the managers, because of course I was seasonal, right? So I went to the managers and was like, how long has the tour been coming through the base? And they're like, oh, I don't know, like a little while. I said, well, this is like really upsetting. Like everyone is just staring at me. Like they're just staring. It's really upsetting. And they said, oh, it's okay. It's okay. They paid to ruin the magic. It's okay. And I had to look this woman dead in the face and say, I don't care about the magic. I care about I'm not being seen as a person. I don't have any choice in this. Nobody asked any of the characters if we were okay with that. I'm like, we're down here like very vulnerable, because especially someone like me playing a stepsister, there's one of two things can occur when a group walks by me, right? It's either I turn and I'm like, hi, hope you're having a great day. Okay, while I'm not being paid, which I'm already being paid very little at work. But now it's my lunch break, and there's this expectation that I'm going to represent something to people of the company or the character department or whatever. I'm going out of my way to entertain them for free. Or I do nothing, right? I ignore them, I walk the other way, and it's, oh, so she's a bitch down here too.
Yep.
I don't get a say in that at all. So people want to say, oh my gosh, you can't ruin the magic. You can't ruin the magic. Oh, Disney's fine with ruining the magic if it benefits them,
right?
Not if it benefits the people that are pulling all the weight, right? If you worked any other job, if I was in Legally Blonde on Broadway, right? And I don't have the TikToker's name. I can't credit her, but she used this as an example. Saying like, if you were on Broadway, I wouldn't tell people, oh, I was friends with Elle Woods. They would say, what? Oh, do you know Reese Witherspoon? No. Like the show Legally Blonde on Broadway, I was friends with Elle Woods. That wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
Because it doesn't, right? And you wouldn't say, well, I can't ruin it. No, it's a show, and everyone knows you're a performer, and you get credit for that, right? And you get to come out at the end, and everyone claps for you. And I don't know how much people will make on Broadway. I'm sure probably still not enough, but like, theoretically, you're compensated for your skills. And then you get to put it on your resume, or you get to use it as a cool tidbit about yourself to get other jobs, get other opportunities, whatever that may be, right? You're going to use that to your advantage. Oh, but not if you work for Disney. No, apparently it's my responsibility to take it to my grave that I was a fake fictional villain at an amusement park. What? When this is the best thing that I can have. That's my favorite comments now, that I deleted somebody on Facebook over it. They're like, oh, is it worth it? Enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. That's not going to pay your bills. And I said, well, Disney certainly wasn't. And they aren't now. And he said, is it worth it? And I said, yeah, it is. I'm having a great time, actually. And I'm feeling better about myself than I have in years. And I'm like, what? Like, holding all of this inside is horrible. So Disney won't do anything because they know I'm not doing anything wrong. They have no ground over it. Mm-hmm. And even if they wanted to, what kind of look is that? Because if Disney sent me a letter in the mail or an email or something, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to turn around and make a video. I'm going to make a video about that and be like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look, and they're smart. But the third reason is because they don't have to, right? Because they have their cast members, even more so than the Disney fans. The Disney fans are like, cool, I want to hear about this. The cast members are so brainwashed, and I don't use that lightly. Like, I mean it. I mean, I did it to myself. Like, so brainwashed into this culture that we have to protect this thing because somebody else doesn't want us talking about when we're treated badly, or how many girls end up with eating disorders and things like that. It's a common thing. You can Google it. All these body image issues. And they're not doing anything to help us, right? They have problems with diversity casting. Oh, they don't want us to talk about that either, I'm sure. Right? You're telling me there aren't beautiful, beautiful Latino women out there to play Elena? We have to have girls that are playing Belle play Elena? I don't know if anyone's watched Beauty and the Beast or looked at Elena recently, but those two cartoon characters do not look the same. So, like, they don't want us to do any of that, but cast members are the first ones to jump down each other's throats of, oh, you're breaking the rules. No, I'm really not. And I'm not here to lie to anyone about it. I do think there's a lot of misinformation on YouTube of girls being like, I auditioned to be a Disney princess and they told me I was too fat. And I'm like, no, they didn't. They didn't say that. Especially if you don't work there. If you do work there, there is a way they will tell you they think you're fat. It's not like that. But, you know, to do all of that and just, you know, I'm going to be honest with people, and I will talk about the good points, and I'll talk about the bad points. But to everyone out there that wants to comment and just say, oh, you're really vain, you're really full of yourself, you're doing this for attention. You're right. I am doing this for attention. Thank you for noticing. And now you don't have any kind of counter arguments against me because I'm not hiding or trying to be anything that I wasn't. They're the ones that made me a Disney character whose entire personality is built on being confident despite what anyone else has to say about her. So here it is. This is what I got.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. You can tell I've thought about this for a while.
I know. We're at almost an hour mark, and I'm like, okay, you know.
You're like, we'll talk about video games, and I was like, you can sure try, David.
So about these video games that you play. So you know, you went viral on TikTok, and you're still making the content, which is wonderful. Are you still getting like as big of a reception? You know, because I know this one hit the 12.5. Are you still getting like the views or the content or the comments that still come in on the new stuff, or are they still going to that old video?
Some of both. Definitely still getting stuff on the old video every day, which cracks me up because, like, again, I'm like, who hasn't seen it? I know that's not actually the reality, but it's like mind blowing to me that there's like still people that want to like argue about this. Because I was here being like, oh, maybe I'll make a YouTube video doing like the longer explained version of that story, and then I'm like, I'm sure everybody's over it. And people keep commenting like, okay, guess they're not. But I did post one other like story time, and excuse me, it did really well still. Every time I post on TikTok though, I'm not like, and then this one will go viral. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Like I post what I want. I posted a really silly one from DragonCon, and it's probably my favorite TikTok that I've posted. I think it's great. It's exploring the party concept of DragonCon, that Sunday mornings are not always the easiest. But I did it in my stepsister outfit. And like TikTok is just kind of like my free therapy, and I definitely don't mean the comments of people arguing, but just being able to like explore, and I'm trying to undo my own brainwashing. Like I sound confident, but it is fake it till you make it, because it's taking me a really long time to undo some of that mental damage and hold that they have over me. And so posting things like that silly TikTok from DragonCon and the stepsisters, or the one where I pulled my wig off to like the Bo Burnham song, I'm like, if nobody sees this, I genuinely don't care, because it made me feel so good to make it. Like I feel like I'm giving something back to myself that I lost, and I feel like I'm giving myself permission to love Anastasia and Drizella like on my own terms, which is perfectly my right because they had such a huge influence on my life, obviously. And I don't want all of the negative feelings that I had like take those away from me. So that's what posting on TikTok really has been for me. Definitely I'm going to start trying to post some more like stream content over there. I fully expect it won't do super well, but that's okay, because I'm just kind of like exploring the internet and having fun. And I even I think I messaged you that I was like, I know everyone's got a podcast, but I'm thinking of doing a podcast. So that is my idea, but I have to work on getting guests and stuff. So I don't want to pitch anything without having anything done yet. But yeah, that, and I want to do a YouTube video, and people have been asking me about like my Disney journey, because I also did a video that did really well, which meant a lot because I wasn't wearing my costume. that was like that trend of like talking to your younger self. And I mean, it actually makes me tear up, the idea of like, if I talked to 19-year-old me whose entire personality was auditioning for Disney, and like most of my friends now, they don't know that person. They've never known that person. Like my best friend I've had since I was 10 that went to college with me, like she knew that person. But everyone I know through cosplay and stuff has never known me before I worked for Disney. And that was the only thing that I cared about, and the only thing that I tried for. That like genuinely, if my younger self saw me now, I wish I could be like, oh, she'd be so impressed, but like she would be horrified and shocked. Like, I don't work at Disney anymore. I was supposed to be there for life. And not only that, but like I went rogue. I mean, I would have been voted the person least likely to go rogue. And here I am, basically like spearheading it, I guess. And no regrets, but like I started brainwashing myself before I even worked there. So it's not like, I don't think I would have coped well knowing what I've become. But like, I'm so much happier than even like some of my best days there, I feel like. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I could relive one day of my life, it would be my very first day out as Drizella at Disneyland. It was like the best day of my life, truly. I still think that. But that being said, my happiness is still more important than like one day, you know?
Right. Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the Disney stories for now, because, you know, just in case, if you want to hear the Disney stories, there's definitely this thing called TikTok, and I'm pretty sure that Melanie has some videos up there that you can watch and add to the view count and comments and everything.
Yeah, even if you want to fight with me, like, it's fine. Whatever.
And I do want to say that I first heard some of these Disney stories when you were streaming, which is coincidentally what we're going to talk about next.
Yay!
Last time we talked back in 2019, you had just started streaming. And of course,
Yes.
with the pandemic that, you know, in March of 2020 for the United States and everyone going on lockdown, like my Amazon wish list has like microphones and streaming equipment, you know, stuff like that. And within the first month or two, like everything was sold out, going for double the price. Like you couldn't find the microphones that I use for podcasts. You couldn't find like the Elgato like capture cards. Like you have to go find like some of like the off-brand ones. And I was like, wow, like everyone's getting into streaming. But you had already started at that point. But now you're streaming and playing video games. But you have definitely grown since the time that you'd started back 2 years ago, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah, it's really fun. Like, I started streaming because when I was a flight attendant and I first started getting interested in video games, like at first I had a PS4 and I was like, oh cool, when I'm home I get to play this PS4 and like this is nice, and it was just like a nice little introvert activity. Then I got a Nintendo Switch, which I definitely love most of all, and it was great that I was able to play games at work when I was by myself, and I did love that. But then when I came home and I was playing video games by myself because all my friends had normal jobs and couldn't do anything at my only time off on a Tuesday afternoon, then games felt kind of like lonelier. And I thought, oh man. So I got more interested in streaming and realized that even if I just had like a couple friends in chat with me, that it gave me some kind of like social outlet. That like, even though I'm introverted, I was pretty depressed when I was a flight attendant. So I knew I at least needed to do something or like give myself some kind of accountability, even if I wasn't like a consistent streamer. And I really liked it. It was really fun, and I kept doing it. And I would say like, you know, probably mid-pandemic, I was at like before now, like what I would call like my peak height. That like if I had like 16 people at one time, I would be like, whoa. Wow. Like that would be like a really high day for me. Like I was probably averaging around like 9 people, which if you're brand new to streaming, 9 people is still great. Like I didn't care if it was, you know, 4 of my friends and 3 people that were just lurking. I mean, whatever, you know, I was doing it to be social and I was having fun. But now I'm closer to like 30 people, which is crazy because I know a lot of that has to do with the TikTok video, but also around the same time as the TikTok video, it kind of like inspired me that like I just kind of like went on this whole rant that was like, hey guys, like all I want to be is like myself and act like myself and be authentic and be honest and upfront with people. And it's not like I feel like the last couple years I've been streaming that like I've been a fake person. And I was like, I don't feel like I've been all of me. Like I always had that worry in the back of my head that wasn't even just about like, oh my gosh, what if I talk about being a Disney character and I get in trouble? Like that wasn't even it. I was just like, what if I'm saying curse words or something kind of like sexual and people are like, ooh, that's not her. Like, this is the girl that just cosplays like Steven Universe and she likes Disney and stuff. Like, ugh, I don't want to be around for that.
Right.
And I realized that like, even though that's such a minor restriction, I still didn't feel like I was being me. Like, I talk a little bit differently with my friends than I would on stream, which I'm sure is still, to most people, perfectly reasonable and normal. Obviously, I don't talk to everybody at work the same way I talk to my friends. Like, it's normal to have different things like that. But what I wanted out of streaming, the kind of people that I wanted to be comfortable around me or comfortable making a community out of streaming, I wanted to be able to talk to them like that. And I kind of had this like heart to heart with my chat that was like, would it weird you guys out that I was like, I know I already like I curse and stuff on stream, but I was like, what if I wanted to make like a little not safe for work joke? Like, what if I wanted to do that? Like, are you guys weirded out because you see me as like too kid friendly, even though my stream is marked for mature audience? I'm like, does that make me feel illegitimate because I talk so openly about my asexuality on here? Because asexuality does not mean you're not allowed to make dirty jokes by any means.
Right.
And everyone was like, no, like we're here to like support you and all this. And so like I do think a big chunk of it, like people have found me because of the TikTok, but I feel like people have stuck around because I have felt more myself on the internet. Like I probably haven't felt that authentic on the internet since 2011, 2012, when I had my Tumblr about wanting to work at Disney. Like it's over the top. It's a different person than I am now, but like I was very authentic. And I feel like I have that back now too. And that's what's made me really enjoy social media. And like now I have like my Discord and everything got built up and like I can't believe it. Like I have a Discord and people talk to each other on there and I'm like, wow, like I never thought I'd be able to like be that person for someone. But like now that it's happening, I mean like I want it real bad, you know? Like everyone please come and hang out. Like I'm having a freaking blast. Because go figure, the girl that played a stepsister turns out is really enjoying internet attention. So, like, I want to keep it up.
Give all of Melanie your love.
Yeah, as the TikTok kids love to ask people their signs. Yeah, I'm a Leo. Apparently, it's obvious. So, whatever.
Now, what do you usually stream? What can people come when, you know, if they come to Twitch? What are they going to be watching you do?
So the main theme we're hitting now is like nostalgia games, which I feel like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the only person on Twitch doing that. But what's made it really fun for me personally is that growing up, I didn't have a lot of game systems. We had a PlayStation 1 and we had a GameCube was like the main kind of things that we had and played. And my brother and I basically played like the two same games over and over again. So I got the Mario like trilogy thing that came out for Switch like in December.
Yeah.
That had Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy on it. And people were like, oh, you know, like it'd be so fun to like play those. And I was like, oh, I've never played any of these before. They were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like I've never played Mario 64. And everyone's like, that was like my first game. Like, are you serious? I'm like, I didn't have a Nintendo 64. And they're like, what about like Mario Sunshine? I'm like, I never had it. I never played a Mario game until Mario Odyssey. So like, yes, I'm not the only person playing nostalgia games, but we're kind of playing it from this fun angle of like, I'm doing it for the first time, and like I've watched people speedrun it, but like I don't know how to play the game. And most people on Twitch have their streams where they have no backseating, no spoilers, like just let the gamer play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I am like overly encouraging people. I'm like, hey, tell me how to play this game. I was like, I'm just here to have a good time. And Mario is really difficult, even on its own. Even if someone tells you what to do, you are not going to get it right away. It is hard.
Yep.
I was playing last night. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I thought I was going to die. I'm up to 29 stars and there's 125. Woo. I'm having a blast though. So I have it in the title. I'm like, come backseat. Come tell me about your experience playing this game. Because that's what's been so fun for me is people being like, oh my gosh, when I was a kid and like this one level, I remember having to make my brother do it for me, or I gave it to my dad, or like, I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. So I suspect we're going to play all of those Mario games. But I first got into streaming just because I love like Spyro the Dragon. So like that one I'm actually good at. I'm actually good at that game because that's one of those two games that my brother and I had. So, yeah, definitely I have some fun incentives planned. Obviously, by the time this comes out, like at least one of these things will have already happened. But like, we're gonna do a watch party this Friday of the new Amazon Cinderella, which I think looks absolutely horrible. But I thought it would be really fun if we all did that together, since obviously we know I got a big history with Cinderella. I'll probably dress up like Drizella for it, because why not?
Right.
So like we're gonna do that. I'm planning to do an infamous hot tub girl stream, which again, usually I would have been like, oh my gosh, I could never even entertain the idea. But there's a twist. I'm gonna be doing it in my mermaid tail, so it's gonna be a good time. There will be no exercise squats for subs, as I will not be able to stand. I will be sitting in the pool and laughing for 3 hours is probably what will happen. So gonna do that at some point, and we're gonna do a whole Spyro day. That was a celebration of hitting 1,000 followers. But yeah, after that, I'm thinking like I want to play Croc. I want to show everybody Team Buddies. That was like my favorite game growing up that nobody's ever heard of. It costs like $100 to find it on eBay. I do have a copy. Yes. So yeah, it's been really great having people come by and be like, you seriously have never played this before? And I'm like, no, no, it's really hard.
I stopped playing Mario after after like Super Mario World. So like all the GameCube games, all the N64 Marios, I couldn't. I was like, I can't do 3D. Like it's too much.
You got to play Mario Odyssey. It is so fun. It's so creative.
Well, maybe I can try that. Like
yes.
I even like I'm not like I'll do Mario like sports, right? Like I'm Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Soccer, whatever. But
oh my gosh, I've only
Zelda.
played Mario Baseball, and when I say I've played Mario Baseball, so I think that one's for the GameCube.
I think so.
And I was at my friend's house. I was at my brother's house, and his friend was over, and we all got drunk and tried to play Mario Baseball, and I couldn't hit a single baseball, just like real life. So maybe the game's accurate.
Yeah, I like Mario. I stopped after a while. I'd never played like Zelda. I do own Breath of the Wild, but Breath
of the Wild was my first Zelda game. It's my first Zelda game and the only one I've played. So actually, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm gonna ask everybody what they think we should do. If we should just be like, hey, it's just Mario Central, like let's do it and hit up all the Mario games, or I'd be like, should we do like one Mario game, one Zelda game, then another Mario game, maybe, because I do love Breath of the Wild. But I mean, we also do like cosplay streams sometimes, and like I'll put the stepsister outfits on, talk about Disney questions people have, and I also do streaming in VR, which is really fun. I know I've seen you in there for some of those, but I do like Beat Saber, like the rhythm games.
Yeah.
When I get to 2,000 followers, I'm like, as of this point, I think like 600 people away from that or something. So I'm not like real close or anything. I said we're going to do a cosplay VR stream, which I suspect is going to mean I'm going to have to play Beat Saber as Drizella. So we'll see how that goes.
That is the one thing, like Christmas time, that's what my wife gave me, was like the Oculus 2. And
That's what I use.
I played it, and I had to return it after like 3 days because I had such a headache from it. Like from the time that I played it, I was like, I can't like, and my middle
like a
kid,
migraine, like your eyes, or like was it the strap? I'm actually on like my third different strap, and I'm using like a Halo style strap now, like the more expensive headsets. So not even the deluxe one that Oculus sells. Like I have like a totally different thing on mine, and that helps. Also, I play in my glasses, which seems counterintuitive, but it's actually better than playing in my contacts.
Well, I don't have any contacts or glasses. But
so it's not even it.
Yeah, I think it was just the motion of it. Like my brain could not do it. But I also have that trouble, like in all those rides where it's like 4D now. Like
I have that problem too, actually. Yeah. But to be fair, like I play Beat Saber, which like I'm standing in one place. It's just like it's in my brain. I'm like, fancy DDR. Yes, my original video game roots. But like, if I try to play, there's one. So my friend had a VR set, like when somebody would be like, "Oh, I have one at my house," and you were like, "You have a what at your house?"
Right.
It was crazy. And I think it's called, I forget, but it's basically, he would call it the Spider-Man game, and it's not Spider-Man, but you can basically like use them and like swing from webs and trees. And he's like, "Yeah, try it." And I put it on, like, literally 2 seconds later, I was sitting down on the ground, and I was like, I can't play this. I was like, there's no way. Because the, like, moving, because you're not actually moving, but the screen moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played a little Half-Life Alyx, and, like, I thought about streaming it, and I think it could be interesting for me to stream, because it's very unlike anything I know how to play, and it looks very real, and I think I will get scared. Like, horror games wouldn't scare me, but, like, a real-looking person, like, holding a gun in front of me, I'd be like, oh my god! Like, I can't handle that. But, like, I don't think I could really stream it, because I could probably only play for about, like, an hour at a time, because it did make me kind of nauseous.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stick with my rhythm games. They're so fun, and I look like I'm standing in it. That's some fun technology, the mixed reality. I love doing that. I gotta upload some Beat Saber videos to TikTok. People are gonna be like, what is going on with this girl's channel? And I'm gonna say, I took variety streamer very seriously.
What with you streaming on Twitch, and you've been doing it for a while now, what's been your favorite moment or experience that you're like, damn, like this was awesome?
Probably, gosh, I mean, I'm just thinking of things like in recent memories. Well, somebody yesterday, I thought they were pranking me, but it was real. Somebody yesterday gifted 100 subs in my channel.
Oh my
gosh.
So
shout out to Rocket Sauce. I was like, are you okay? What are you doing? I mean, that's nuts. That's nuts. Like you remember, like 4 months ago, I would be like, oh my god, there's 8 people in here. So like, what the heck? That's wild. But like outside of that, I would say I did a stream as Drizella, and a lot of people since that TikTok video have been like, oh my gosh, I met you. And I was like, because turns out people really, like, people think that, oh, Hannah Montana is so unrealistic, like everybody would know it's her. No, they wouldn't. I can promise you that. Because genuinely wearing the same hair and clothing, the amount of pictures that I get sent are not me. Like, years ago, my dad sent me a picture and was like, oh my gosh, saw this on my buddy's Facebook page. You look so great. And it was this picture of Anastasia. And I was like, Dad, that's not me. Like, so yeah, no, Hannah Montana would totally work in real life. So pretty much when people send me pictures, I expect it to not be me. But somebody in Twitch chat was like, oh, I think I have a picture with you. And I was like, okay. Sure. I was like, well, like, send it. So I put on like screen sharing, and they sent it to me on Instagram, and I pulled it up in my messages, and in real time, everyone saw me seeing this picture of myself. That this was the first person that sent me one that was me. And I saw it right then and there, and I like started crying. I was like, oh my God. Because it does put me back in that moment of like just how much I loved it. And it's also crazy to think like how isolated and unappreciated I felt like I was by Disney But like I said, I always loved doing it for the guests. And like, in the back of your head, but you never really see that evidence. But when people are like, oh my gosh, you're in my family's photo album, or like, my little brother's still talking about you from that day, like years later and stuff like that. And they send you those pictures, like, oh my gosh, like that means so much. Like before I ever had any of my videos do well on TikTok, I sent to one of my friends and I was like, my only mission, as silly as this is, and I was like, if my videos got seen by enough people and I got sent pictures of myself like working there, that would be amazing. So of course I have some pictures working there, but I don't have like the ones with the guests. That would be a little weird.
Yeah.
I hope my Yeti's not picking up my dog barking in the other room, but anyway. Yeah, so like that was really cool. And then similarly, like a couple streams later, I was explaining like some of the different stuff that the Tremaines did that like other characters wouldn't do, or like even technically we weren't supposed to do. And one of them is this book that's called like the Disney Encyclopedia of Characters or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would buy that and bring that instead of buying the autograph books at the park, which was a great idea. It's super fun because it was like a scavenger hunt. And then sometimes if the kids would see a character, instead of being like, oh, I have to get their autograph just because it's a character, then the family can be like, oh, let's look them up in the book. Let's see who it is. And like all this kind of stuff. But so Anastasia and Drizella have a page. And of course it calls them like nasty and mean and like all this stuff. And so when people would bring the book up, I'd be like, well, I can't sign my name to this slander. That would mean I was approving of this. And I'd always get permission. I'd say, do you mind if I make some edits before I sign it? Of course, people are like, oh, yes, of course, of course. So I'm talking about this on stream, and I'm trying to remember, like, I'm looking at a picture of the book, like the book page, and I'm like, I think I crossed out this word, or I would do this, or I'd write it in such a way that made it sound like Cinderella liked doing chores. And I was like trying to remember, and I couldn't quite. So I'm like clicking through the pictures, and I pull up this one, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, yeah, Cinderella, just lovely, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think this is what I would write. And then I'm like, huh, that's funny. I didn't think anyone else like did it exactly the same way that I did. And then I was like looking at the autograph and I was like, huh. So I end up clicking through the picture on Google, and it's like got this connected article that's from like 2015 or something. Like it's been on the internet for ages. I've never seen it. I scroll down and lo and behold, there is a picture of me doing this to the book, exactly as I talked about. I was like, oh my God. So that was the first ever clip that I posted to TikTok of my stream, and which did really well, but I was like, oh, this is still me as a stepsister. So like, we'll see. I'm not assuming everyone wants to see my stream content. But yeah, that was just like really wild. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that like this evidence of this thing that I did was just like hanging out on the internet all this time. And I was like, I'm going to save that for later. That is a nice memory for me to have.
That is so cool, especially seeing like that stuff on stream and sharing it with people.
Yeah,
like
it's the best part.
It's like, it's one thing to like finish a game, and especially some of the games that I sit in with certain streamers where it's like really emotional, and it ends and it's like,
Life
oh my
is
gosh,
Strange.
like tears and everything. But it's another thing to like get sent pictures of yourself and be like, oh my gosh, this is me.
Yeah, and have someone be like, oh, this was 6 years ago, and they're like, you made our whole trip, or they'll be like, this is exactly what you said to my son, and I'm like, I mean, there's no way I could ever remember that, but I can read stuff that people say I said, and I know if I said that or not. Like, sometimes people will comment on my videos like, oh yeah, like, my son was in the bathroom and you started screaming for him. And I'm not the only stepsister that does that, but I was like, that might be me. Like, I know the things that I did and didn't do. And that's just like so touching that it meant so much to somebody in that moment that like they have the memory to like write that down. Not just like, oh yeah, we were at Disney and we like took a picture and it was cool. Like it meant something to them. Like, that's what keeps you there. That's what keeps you in, even when it gets really bad, is you're like, this is why I'm doing it. And I would still be doing it for that reason. It's just like hard realizing that like my mental health was tied to how financially successful, I felt. And that's not me saying that like money counts for everything, but like, you know, like most millennials, like I have a lot of student loans. Like I had a lot of credit card debt when I worked at Disney, and it was not because I was buying cosplays or going on vacation. It was because I had to put gas in my car to go to work. It was because I needed groceries. There was days I just didn't bring any lunch to work. You're just like, oh yeah, like I already ate, like I ate at home. You know, that's ultimately I had to realize that no matter how much I loved being Drizella, those things were going to take precedent, and like I needed to make a change.
Mm-hmm. You're streaming now, and people can, you know, come hang out and watch and everything. You know,
Yes,
watch what you do. And I know your episode comes out in October, but you also just, because you know, one of the things that obviously connected us is that you cosplay, and you attended DragonCon over like what, a week ago ish, I believe, at this point. So the first week of September.
Yes.
How was it? Because, you know, still pandemic times, everything is strange and new, and conventions are coming back around, and I've seen pictures and videos from different conventions, and I'm curious to know how you experienced it. But you also live in Atlanta, so it's
Right.
more of your like local home con for you.
Right. Yeah. It's like basically the reason why I live in Atlanta, because I made so many friends from DragonCon that I was like, yeah, this is my year-long personality now. I just like got rid of the Disney personality and was like, my personality now is DragonCon, and I'm one of those people that will like wear the carpet pattern from the hotel. Like if you know, you know. Yeah, DragonCon this year was a lot of ups and downs for me. Well, before the con, I mean, because you know, once vaccines started and the CDC came out and was like, hey, you can, if you're vaccinated, you can start going back and doing things from your normal life, I was elated. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get my DragonCon. This is going to be so amazing, you know, and then as we know, everything started going to pieces again. And I was just like, I didn't know what I wanted for a while. I was like, great, the con's going to get canceled, you know? And then that became, oh my God, what if the con isn't canceled? Like, they better cancel it. I wanted them to cancel it because I thought, oh my gosh, most of my friends, like my out of town friends, like they're not going to come. I have this Airbnb. I can only get refunded on my Airbnb if the event cancels. If it doesn't cancel and I just only have 3 people versus, you know, 8, then I'm stuck with it and I got to figure that out. So I was stressed about it from that point, and then just feeling like, you know, did I feel safe going? And then even if I did feel safe going, was it even worth going to? Was it going to feel anything like it normally would? You know, how did I feel about wearing masks with my costumes? Honestly, that was like my least concern. I was more worried about it just not feeling like DragonCon, or obviously like being part of the problem. And then like 2 weeks before the convention, they were like, by the way, you have to have vaccines or a negative test. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'd been fully vaccinated since April. So, right. You know, and then even though they said, or a negative test within 72 hours, of course, the kind of people that like threw a fit about that, I'm like, okay, great. You all are not coming. You are the problem makers. So I was debating on being like, I found somebody to take over my Airbnb. So I was like, okay, at least I figured that out. So I live close enough that I'm like, well, I can just go a couple days. It's like, I have to go to the vendor's room because I have to pick up something that I pre-ordered from somebody like 8 months ago. And then I thought, oh, I could wear, you know, the one cosplay I'm the most excited about was Starlight from The Boys. I thought, well, I could text some of the photographers that I know that are local, and we could take some pictures like outside at the park. You know, and then I'm like, maybe that's it. And that's okay. But once I made the vaccine announcement, I kind of was like, you know what? I'm in, because I did my research and it was within my risk profile. It's not for everyone, obviously. So again, I didn't have to travel to come to the con, so that's a big factor. I was totally fine with wearing my mask the whole time. And I live alone and I work from home. And I don't know any kids, and I don't have any immune compromised people that I'm visiting. So since I've been home from DragonCon, I haven't even gone to the grocery store or anything. I have like a meal prep service. So that food got dropped off. I even did that like GoPuff thing and like ordered just some like cereal and snacks so I didn't have to go to the grocery store.
Right.
Just in case. And then people were tagging me that they were like, oh my gosh, it was on Facebook. Somebody from DragonCon was positive and they were there the whole weekend. I'm like, first of all, I'm in every DragonCon group. They weren't there the whole weekend. They got tested at DragonCon and then went home. So DragonCon also set up spots where you could do testing. I think they actually had a place where you could go and get a vaccine while you were at DragonCon too.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, which I mean is kind of nuts because anyone coming to DragonCon that wasn't vaccinated, I can't imagine they were like, now I'm going to do it. And then like also you're probably going to feel kind of sick at DragonCon. It's a weird energy, but like I respect the thought process behind it. And I hope, even if a single person went and did it, that in my opinion, it was totally worth it for them to have it. So, yeah. So I've just been home, and I'm going to go and get a test probably on Saturday, just because that'll have given 7 whole days from like the last day that I was there.
Right.
So if I come up with a negative on Saturday, then I should be fine. But I've just been waiting. And I mean, I feel fine. As far as like everyone at the con and like the con energy, it still felt like DragonCon. It really did. The only thing that made me really sad was that I was missing my best friends that couldn't come. They kind of are what make it for me. But I did have, you know, some of my smaller group of friends. So it was still fun getting to do stuff with them. And I saw one person that I hadn't seen in years and had a lot of fun with her. But from what I saw, everybody was really good about the masks. I didn't see anybody throwing a fit inside. I didn't see anybody having to be told to put their mask back on. Obviously, that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
And then when I did like my Starlight cosplay pictures, I went out and did them like on the steps in the Hilton. And then photographers were shooting with me, and I, you know, had my mask off because I was far away from them and we were outside. So I still feel like, oh, I got cosplay pictures. Did one costume with body paint. Don't recommend that with a mask on. Breathing in the mask with my nose made my eyes water, and that made my face paint get ruined. And I have decided that after all these years of cosplay and all my years of Steven Universe, I am officially retired from body paint at conventions. I would still do it for a photo shoot, like if I really wanted to. Conventions, when you are walking around and there is sun and there are factors, no, I am done with that. It is not worth it. But other than that, I had a really good time, and it was like really refreshing. And I actually ended up taking over somebody's hotel room because, similar to my Airbnb situation, people were about to be out of all of their money. So I was able to pay it forward so that my 2 friends that did want to stay in the Airbnb, we still had a place to stay. We weren't cramped or anything like that. And, you know, had a place we could go and rest if it was too much. I crashed pretty hard like Friday afternoon because I was just like riding that high that I was like, I haven't been this excited about wearing a cosplay in years. Like even before the pandemic, I didn't have anything new, or I wasn't really liking how I was looking in my costumes. And did my Starlight costume, and I just loved it. I was riding that high and taking all those pictures, and I just came back to my room and was like, oh my gosh, I just crashed. I crashed hard. Like, I just wasn't like mentally ready for all that like serotonin, and then it was just like, woof, you need a break. Yeah, and I wore Drizella on Sunday, and my friend Sarah was my Anastasia, and she was a total natural. She was amazing. We went to the Disney shoot, and everybody there was really fun. They even let me play along and pretend to like crash the group photo for all the boys. I was like, ooh, I want to be in the boys picture, you know, whatever. People thought it was fun. At least I think they thought it was fun. If they cried after I left, I wouldn't know about it. So I think most iconic, I was carrying around like a little autograph book with me. With one girl just came up and like no context, didn't say like I follow you on TikTok or anything, but she must. And shout out to this girl because it's gonna live rent free in my head for a long time. She just goes, I wouldn't sign that if I were you, and walks away. Like I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh, she know the video. But yeah, it was very good. And there definitely was less people, but not like oh, it feels like DragonCon is empty. It just like, from what I heard, this was my 7th year, but people were like, oh, it just felt like DragonCon 15 years ago, which like, was there room to walk around? Yes, that's about it. Like, not, I wouldn't call it social distance walking around,
Mm-hmm.
but there was like room to walk around. Like, usually Saturday at DragonCon, I just don't leave like my hotel room. I hate Saturday. There's way too many people that come in for like that one day.
Yeah.
And that was the day that I went to the vendor's hall to like pick up my skirt and buy from the makeup people that I use for all my cosplay. And it was like easy to walk around and not being up in anyone's business, and like actually could see all the stuff without being smushed up against people. So go figure. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it was so much better, because like a bunch of people obviously like couldn't come for really serious reasons.
Right.
You know, or might not be here anymore. And so I don't want to like make light of it, but I feel like if there's a way for DragonCon to just not sell Saturday badges again at the very least, like I wouldn't be sad. So, but I will obviously would rather take 90,000 person DragonCon next year where everybody is healthy and excited over 40,000 masked and testing and people can't come DragonCon.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. I know that I saw a number of my previous guests were down and you know, enjoying themselves. I was like, dang, you know, because
yeah,
I'm looking at Holiday Matsuri this year. I'm like, okay, crossing fingers, maybe we'll go.
Might be there. I might be at that one. We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely a we'll see on my end.
That was like, even before the pandemic, I was like, all right, I want to like kind of not cut down on cons I'm going to, but you know, when I was a flight attendant, I was just like, woohoo, like willy nilly. I'm like, yeah, like there's a point where I was calling it convention season where like I was pretty much at one like every month. I was like, okay, all right, like I'm 29. I'm not old, but like I'm old enough to not want to be at conventions every 3 weeks, you know? That's a little much for my introverted behind. So I decided that my only, like, yearly out-of-state con that I wanted to keep home at, just for obvious reasons, I can, like, visit my friends down there, and, like, that one just has, like, its own, like, fun energy. I might, if this one happens, I might go to KatsuCon again this year. I feel like every time I go to KatsuCon, I'm like, oh, I wasn't gonna do this, and then, like, I go, but I think I've been twice, 3? No, I think just twice. I think I've been to KatsuCon twice. So, I don't know. I might go to that one. We'll see. Whatever I end up at, I'm bringing Drizella, though. So, I feel like Drizella at Holiday Matsuri is a bold choice for me to make. But I kind of feel like that's the brand we have now. So,
right.
I'm fine with it. Maybe I'll do feathers. We'll do feathers for Christmas instead of the bow. I'll be Christmas Parade Drizella. Yeah, that's it.
there you go.
The amount of people that are like, that's your park costume. And I'm like, here's the thing though. I actually went out of my way to get the one set of stepsister dresses that are not the ones they wear in the park or the movies or the old one they wear in the park or anything they wear in the parades. It's not a replica of a park outfit. It's a totally different outfit. I can't help it that I just look like Drizella.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, like, whatever. And you know what? Disney can't get mad at me either for being like, you can't dress up like Cinderella or Ariel or whatever. Because if a whole thing about copyright is image and likeness, and I don't know if this is true. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but like, you know, they can't copyright what the characters' dresses look like or whatever. If it's something like you made or you got somewhere, that like image and likeness comes down to like what a person looks like. And I have years and years and years of evidence of Disney specifically telling me I don't look like a Disney princess. So I don't really see what the problem could be if I'm dressed up as Ariel or Cinderella or Rapunzel, because they've already confirmed I don't look anything like those characters. So it must be fine. We spicy.
For more spicy talk, you can visit Melanie on her Twitch channel or her TikToks.
Yes, and I'm a fancy gal now. So if you actually just type in magicalgirlmelanie.com, it like brings up my link tree with like every social and the link to my Discord or whatever. But I swear, if you listened all the way through this podcast to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go find her Discord and I'm gonna send this girl some hate. Like, just save yourself some time. Just like write it on TikTok like everyone else. It's totally fine. I can handle it.
You know, I
give
do,
David the listen.
I do always recommend if you send hate messages to my guests, I'm not going to be happy. So please send them to me. Like, I'll take the hate. Like, if Melanie has made you so furious that you need to type something out, my email is not hard to find, and you can just email me, and then that way it doesn't go to Melanie, because Melanie got 12.5 million people already looking at her video. Okay.
If I've made you so upset today that you had to listen to like over an hour of me talking about it, I just ask that before you send David that angry email, just sit with yourself for a moment and just do some reflection and ask, why is it that it makes you so upset that I'm not respecting a corporation or a fictional character? And if it's because you are one of those people that was a fictional character or helped the fictional characters or loves the park or whatever, just remind yourself, this doesn't affect you at all. It really doesn't. Because even if I had one girl, I had a princess that she said that she just felt like I was like disrespecting something that everyone earned. To which point I say, when did we earn it? Because we all got picked based on what we looked like. Not saying that our jobs weren't important or amazing, but it's still not something that I earned. It's something that happened, and I'm going to take advantage of it now.
That's right. All right, Melanie. I mean, you already dropped the links, but I'll just ask you again, because we do, we got to be official with the wrap up here. If you have listened to Melanie and you want to go find her out there on the internet, where can people find you, Melanie?
So if you do magicalgirlmelanie.com, it should pull everything up. But my main socials are Instagram, Magical Girl Melanie, obviously TikTok, Magical Girl Melanie, Twitch, Magical Girl Melanie. I'm just starting to use Twitter. I'm not very good at it, but that is the only one. Magical Girl Melanie does not fit, so I have to be Magical Girl Mel on that one. YouTube, I am Magical Girl Melanie. Oh, not like I am. I mean, my YouTube is also Magical Girl Melanie, as well as my Facebook page. My Facebook page, I don't upload quite as much. And YouTube, maybe by the time this episode comes out, maybe I will have something posted on there, because I'm working on it.
All right. So go give Melanie a follow on any of the socials. Twitch would be good. Because that way you work towards the goal that you're shooting at. Twitter, be kind, because Twitter is a terrible place. So if you follow, just follow and be respectful, because I'm watching. So you better be good.
I mean, like, I guess David's watching, because honestly, like, if someone sent me hate mail on Twitter, I feel like I would be like 5 months later, I'd be like, sorry, just saw this. Oh, and there's also, if you go to magicalgirlmelanie.com, there's a link on there for my Discord if you want to join the community. We do have a whole section in there just for Disney, so I know I kind of gave them the bonk in this. But like I said, we do talk about the fun moments, and there's a place where people can post their pictures from their trips, or, talk about characters, or ask me questions about it. That's all in there. I also just made a Ko-fi, if that's something you're into, or a coffee. Still working on that. Social media is a lot of work, guys.
100%. But go follow Melanie and go back and listen to her previous episodes, because they're there too. And we talk about some good stuff that sadly, some of the shows that we talked about don't exist anymore. Or they're not making them. So
well, that just means that if you're like, hey, I haven't heard of this show, it means you get to go and watch it and enjoy all of it together.
Yes.
Unless you're like one of the Game of Thrones haters, I guess. But you know what? I stand by what I said about Sansa. Sansa's amazing. And now, Starlight's my new girl now. I always got to have a strong girl that I love. I love my girl Starlight, because she just wants to She just wants to, like, maybe put a company in their place that was, like, her dream for a long time that maybe didn't work out for her. I don't know why I would be attracted to a storyline like that, but...
I can't put my finger on it anyway. I don't know how that would have
pretty.
any bearing on what we've talked about at all.
And she was in Jessica Jones, so there's your thread.
All right, Melanie. Well, I just want to say again, thank you for coming back. It's rare when people are like, "Hey, I want to come back and do this." Like, it's not something that happens all the time. And you very publicly, because it's on while you're streaming on Twitch, you're like, "I'll come back."
I was like, "Let's do it." I was like, "Give me attention." Is this not the spiciest episode you've ever had? I mean, I know we get into fandom debate sometimes, but I was bringing some heat today.
I think it is one of the spicier ones. I mean, there are definitely ones where I've had people email me that have been previous guests that were like, I listened to this episode and I completely disagree with everything you and your guest said. I'm like, I knew you would too, and that's partially why I do the episode.
I love that. I love the energy, but that's what makes it so fun to listen to your show.
Well, I appreciate that, Melanie. And this is number 3 for you, so
woo.
Just keep on adding them up.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.